We start in the US, where former President Barack Obama has told delegates at the Democratic National Convention in Chicago that America is ready for a new chapter with Kamala Harris. As president, he highlighted her history as a prosecutor going after big banks and child sexual abusers, in contrast to Donald Trump, who he said saw power as nothing more than a means to his ends. Mr. Obama was preceded on stage by his wife Michelle, who declared hope is making a comeback. In his speech, Barack Obama told delegates that the election in November will be a tight race in a divided country. The torch has been passed now. It is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in, and make no mistake, it will be a fight for all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks. For all the rallies and the memes, this will still be a tight race in a closely divided country, a country where too many Americans are still struggling, where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help. And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question: who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Well, before Barack Obama spoke, his wife Michelle, former First Lady Michelle Obama, received a rapturous welcome. This is what she had to say about some of Donald Trump's policies. It's his same old con, doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better. Because cutting our healthcare, taking away our freedom to control our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through IVF like I did, those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers and daughters. Shutting down the Department of Education, banning our books, none of that will prepare our kids for the future. Demonizing our children for being who they are and loving who they love, look, that doesn't make anybody's life better. Instead it only makes us small. And let me tell you this, going small is never the answer. Going small is the opposite of what we teach our kids. Going small is petty, it's unhealthy, and quite frankly it's unpresidential. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris took a break from the Democrat National Convention in Chicago to hold a U.S. presidential election rally in Milwaukee. Speaking at the same venue where the Republicans recently held their convention, Ms. Harris said the choice facing voters was the future versus the past. As we all know, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This is not just about us versus Donald Trump. This is about two very different visions for our nation. One ours focused on the future, the other focused on the past. And Wisconsin, we fight for the future. We fight for the future. We believe in the future, a future with affordable health care, a future with affordable childcare, a future with affordable housing and paid leave. That's the future we believe in. Well, let's go live to Chicago now, and my colleague Sui S., who's at the convention for only so day 2 is pretty much at an end, and I assume the highlight was the Obamas. Absolutely, Sally. I mean, you know that the crowd behind me, there is not a crowd behind me anymore, because people have all trickled out. But just about 20-30 minutes ago, this place was absolutely roaring to see the former President Barack Obama and the former First Lady Michelle Obama. Everyone was on their feet. It really wasn't an atmosphere of complete enthusiasm and excitement, and really they were able to deliver these speeches on a message that they said was one of hope. We heard Michelle Obama say hope is making a comeback. That was something we heard reflected in Barack Obama's speech as well, and they made the case for why they believe Kamala Harris should be the next president, why Minnesota Governor Tim Walz should be the next vice president, and I want to talk about that a little bit now with my guest here, Washington, D.C. Bureau Chief for the Chicago Sun-Times, Lou, who is with us. Lou knows Chicago politics, of course, very well, and the Obamas as well. What did you think of their speeches here tonight? If you want an example of what the best speakers on the planet, not just in Chicago, Barack and Michelle Obama, they are unparalleled speakers and bringing you inspiration, vision, hope and the byword of this campaign, joy. So the difference between Barack and Michelle Obama and everybody else is that they have a special gift for actually delivering speeches to big arenas. You couldn't do what we heard in just a room of 100. They get their strength in it, but it's also the way of messaging now. In some ways, Michelle Obama's speech was incredibly more interesting to me and I think more useful in getting votes for Harris than our Obamas, which had stuff that it's important, but what this convention, and what this night is about is building a way, and a path for Harris to win. So what you have here in Michelle Obama's speech, I know you said, oh, this is here making the case for Harris. There is also a lot of punches, and that Michelle made at Trump, okay? And one of the lines that at Ian, and also just as a backstory of if your listeners don't know, Michelle Obama has had simmering anger at Trump for years now, you know. She's talked about a bit on it, I've written about it a bit, as she also had just lost her mother, and I was surprised at, and I followed the Obamas for years, so I knew she had died and the funeral was here. And I was surprised at how raw it still was, but in the punch back to Trump when she said the line that Trump's limited and narrow view the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated and successful people who also happen to be black, that's her talking, wow. And you know they've really made that urgent appeal as well, Lynn, to say you need to get out there and vote. I mean, they both said it's now time to get the work done, yes, and in that way I think that Michelle Obama just does better on that because she gives you the lessons, you know. Don't think you have to be asked. Now don't think I got to tell you again. You've been told, you put it together, and it's kind of a way of talking in terms of motivating people again. Nice to have all these delegates here, but the real message here was to the audience outside, and there she got marching orders to give, and she gave them. Yeah, she said, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you. All right, thank you so much, Len. I think we also have Daniel Littman with us. He's a reporter covering the White House in Washington for Politico. And Daniel, I think you're somewhere in this arena. We don't have you next to us, but somewhere here. Just tell us what you thought of these features tonight, the very, very warm reception that the Obamas received. Here, Obama's political career was launched because of a convention speech. He was only an Illinois state senator in 2004 when he gave an electrifying speech at the Democratic convention for John Kerry. And he talked about how we don't have a red America, blue America, we have the United States of America. And so he has spoken at these conventions before, knocked them out of the park. There was a lot of energy in the room. But what I also found was interesting was that in 2016 Michelle Obama said, when we go and they go low, we go higher. And then you had Barack Obama tonight making inferences to Donald Trump's manhood. So quite the contrast from 2016. Yeah, Daniel, I mean, I guess that is the question. Ian, how much do you think these speeches, the Obamas, can motivate voters? Because that is the task that they've been given, of course, is not just to speak to this crowd here, the support that they have in this arena, but also to get people off the couch and to the polls in November for Kamala Harris. Yeah, I think that's why they have these speeches and for most Obama fans, they're already going to vote for Harris. They hate Trump. And so this is a way to get as many marginal voters as possible, to get new volunteers, and to not be complacent. And I was at the Republican convention in Milwaukee, and Republicans felt like they had it in the bag. It's a similar feeling now on, but Democrats know that if they rest on their laurels, if they think, oh, Donald Trump, he has no chance of getting re-elected, we have all the energy and all the polls and the money at them. That is a grave threat to Harris's candidacy. All right, Daniel, and just really quickly before we let you go, what do you think we can expect to see from another big surrogate important name, Bill Clinton? Well, you know Clinton is someone who was telling people around him that Joe Biden should reconsider running, and so I think he is he is a greater speech maker, and I think that he is going to speak to those moderate voters, those people who are white male voters, older male voters that Harris really needs, and that Walz is a pick to try to get those people too. All right, Daniel Littman and Lynn Sway with me here, thank you both so much, and Sally, going to send it back to you. But of course we will be continuing our live coverage of the convention in the coming days, so do tune in, of course. Thanks for watching. For more updates, like, share, subscribe and press bell icon.